Hi, I'm Russ Gottlieb, and this is my introductory lesson to playing Deal by Jerry Garcia Band, or the Grateful Dead on the 5-string banjo. This is an introductory lesson and not a beginner lesson, because what we're going to do is walk through the song, walk through the chords, and then move pretty quickly on to different ways to play these chords, different ways to move around the 5-string banjo on this song, and in turn a song like it. If you are a true beginner and you're interested in moving up and through banjo playing to be able to learn from a lesson like this, or just do whatever you want to do, or you'd like to get more in depth into what's in this video, expand further on the concepts or dig deeper into them, I do offer private lessons, both online via Skype or in person. You can get in touch with me about that by commenting on this video or sending me a direct message or email, and I'll be sure to make that easy for you. So, just as a brief introduction to this lesson, this is really going to focus on the left hand and not the right hand, which is a little bit different for a banjo lesson. We tend to neglect the left hand when we learn about the banjo because the right hand really is so important. But I've been playing Grateful Dead songs and rock songs and styles outside of bluegrass on 5-string banjo for a while, and I've really thought about how to get around the fretboard using different chords and, of course, any chord. So that's what this video is really about, and I hope that you find it enjoyable, inspirational, educational, and maybe you may find some other things. Of course, I would really appreciate a like, comment, share, subscription, all the internet social media actions that one may participate in. Anyway, let's move on with the lesson. All right, thanks. Just to start off, as you can see, I have a capo on 2nd fret, and I do have the 5th string pinned down on 7th fret using a railroad spike. The banjo's in regular open G tuning, which is open A tuning now because of the capo, and for this entire length of this video, I'm going to refer to chords in their actual, in terms of what you're actually hearing, and nothing relative to the capo. So that's an A. That's an A, not a G. I'm not going by shape. I'm going by the actual notes and chords that you are hearing. And 1, 2, 3, 4. A, C sharp 7, F sharp minor, E, D, D 7, A, F sharp, B, D, A. Here's C sharp 7, F sharp minor, E, D, D 7, and now A, G, D. That's the chorus. A, G, D, and then we're back to A. Usually we hear this little lick, something like this. Since it costs a lot to win. So there we go. So that's one through a verse and a chorus. Now, what we're going to do before we start playing that fast is we're going to take a look at some of the ways that we can get around those chords, and also what I just played and maybe why I just played it. There's a lot of ways to play these chords, and this is just how I approach it from my experience, what I like to play, and what I find makes me really versatile on the song and sound good in a band. So let's take a look at how I got around those chords. So just for starters, we start on A. Now, that's pretty standard root position, A chord. The next chord we're going to get to is C sharp 7. C sharp 7, not a chord we get to play a whole lot on banjo. but that's what makes it so much fun. So there's a few ways I can get to it. Now what I'm going to do is go here. You see that? That's, to me, very efficient motion in terms of what I have to do with my fingers. And it's also very efficient in terms of the different notes in the chords moving. So we break that down one by one, and this is important. We'll do this time, and then the other ones we might maybe not spend so much time. I'm going to go from A to C sharp 7. So here's A, yeah, and that's going to go down. This finger is just going to go down 1 fret. There you go, to G sharp. And look where your first finger is if you do that. And then you slide down. Your first finger is pretty darn close to this B natural, which is the 7 note that makes C sharp 7 a 7 chord instead of just C sharp. And look at, there's your fourth finger, pretty much right where it needs to be to play an E sharp, which is the 3rd of the chord. That's kind of a cool chord because we don't actually use the root. If you're playing with a bass player might play the root and you don't need it. And even if you're not, as you can hear, it still really works. Back and forth a couple times. If you're working on new chords, going back and forth is a really good way to practice that. You go as slow as you need to. The point is to stay in time and to figure out what works for your fingers to get from chord to chord. Now here's why I like to go to this chord a lot, aside from that it's got a real pretty sound to it, is next chord is F sharp minor. And we're going to use pretty much the same shape to do that. I'm going to keep my second finger out of the way. So look at these two. We got these two fingers are just going to slide up 1 fret. And then second finger was already in place to be right there on 6th fret. That's an F sharp minor chord. So now we have another really nice, really efficient, really pretty sounding chord motion there from C sharp 7 to F sharp minor. Let's hear those 3. Yeah, it's pretty much made to do that. And you know, maybe isn't the kind of stuff that you're going to automatically jump to on banjo. Maybe you would. I didn't, but I found it over time. So now from that F sharp minor, that's great. That's really part of the song. And then you're back to A. So that was F sharp minor, E, D, and then D7. And that's just a nice descending line. It goes along with the melody, you know. Since it costs a lot to win and even more to lose. Yeah, so that's F sharp minor, E, D, D7. And we're going to stay in this zone, kind of between the 7th and the 2nd fret. Next chord's A. We're back on A. And then A is going to be a measure and a half, and then go down to F sharp major, which is going to be your standard E shape with the capo on, but it is an F sharp major chord. There it is. And then B, and then D. I really like moving it from here on the 4th fret, and then taking that same voicing and moving it up to the 7th fret. I think it builds a lot of suspense, and it creates a nice opportunity to either come back down to here, or since you're moving up, kind of keep it going. You really get that lift to it, and that can build a lot of energy. Maybe better for the 2nd or the 3rd verse towards the end of the song, but it's up to you. So say we go... So we're going to end up there for the end of the verse. So here's from the beginning. Yeah, there's the A. And now from here, we're going back to C sharp, and we have another, this is an even simpler way to change between these two chords. So here's A, and here's C sharp. See, all that is reversing the first and second fingers. So here's A, C sharp, and then I might do C sharp 7 by adding my pinky to the 12th fret. And here's the same as before, F sharp minor, E, D, D7. So we get that whole sequence of A, C sharp 7, F sharp minor, E, D, D7 twice in one verse. So that was the second time, because what I did is I chose to, remember, go up into the next A from before. Creates excitement. Also, it just creates something different to listen to, kind of lets you know that you're at the end of the verse and not at the beginning. If we play the same thing all the time, forget about it getting boring. You can play the same thing over and over with music without really being boring. It's kind of amazing. Remember, if you're bored, you're boring. So don't let yourself get bored. Change it up, try new things. We get up to this part. It's playing higher on the neck, playing higher notes, and also just movement in general signals excitement, and can build tension, which is a good thing. It's what you want to do. So we got back up here. We're going to repeat the A, C sharp 7, F sharp minor, E, D, D7 sequence again. A, C sharp 7, and then again we're sticking with some close leading. Check that out. A little bit of maybe a tricky chord change if you're not used to it. But here's C sharp 7, F sharp minor, E, D, and D7. Check that out. Remember, C sharp 7 is here. Move that up one. That's D7. And then that D7 brings us into the chorus, which is some real nice, real simple, even maybe closer to bluegrass kind of thing, especially if you're playing banjo. And that's A, G, D, A, G, D. That's right there for you, and I might play those chords when I get there. I might not do all that rolling depending on the feel of what's going on, but I'm good. That's the A shape that we started with. Take it down 2 frets or a whole step, and then you have your open D chord, which without the capo on would be an open C chord. Same shape with the capo, but it's a D chord. So let's go through that once again. I'm gonna play through those chords real kind of basic, like I did at first, and then I'll do another one where maybe I'll add some more stuff to it, and well, we'll see what happens, but you'll get to see some of it in action. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the next one. So there you go. Now, this song has more than one verse, and we're going to end up on that part of the song more than once. So that group of chords really focused on the bottom three strings, D, G, and B, or the middle three, I guess, but I call them the bottom because they're the lowest in pitch. That's where we really focused for those. So, and as you heard, that was more of a block chord kind of way of playing. Block chord meaning you're playing all the notes of the chord at once most of the time. Now, a big part of banjo playing, of course, is rolling, which is essentially arpeggiating, which is a fancy word for playing the notes of a chord in sequence instead of at the same time. So now we're going to go through the whole thing again, and what we're going to do is focus on the top three strings and maybe a little more of the fifth string too. Go through the chords again and do a little more rolling. So for me, these are the chords that I find nice. I play them a lot when I play this song, and maybe not definitely if I'm on the higher strings. For this song, I'm also focused on doing more of a rolling or arpeggiating thing. Again, there's no system, or there's no rules rather behind this. I'm not adhering to some prescribed list of rules or system. This is really just what I've gained through experience, trial and error, and of course from the other information that I've gathered through studying and learning from various people, books, sources. So, it's really up to you, and this is just one way to get through it. It's a few ways to get through it, but it's my take on the whole thing. So here we go. Let's go through the same chords again, the same progression again, nice and slow. But we're going to use different chord voicings this time. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. A, C sharp 7, F sharp minor, E, D, D7, A, F sharp, B, B7, D, D7, A, C sharp 7, F sharp minor, E, D, D7, and then A, G, D, A, G, D, beginning. There's your last A. So we had some moves in there. Pretty fun one. I actually like playing it there. So let's just go through them again, and we'll go a little faster this time because we got the idea here. We're focusing on the movement between the chords and kind of how we're going to get a slick way from one chord to another, and particularly in this one from a pretty high range on the instrument and to a pretty low range there. That's an octave and a half from A, there's your octave, and then E, for our music theory fans, a perfect fifth, an octave and a half, or slightly more than a half, because half would be a tritone, right? But that's pretty much what it is. So here we go. A, check it out, open A. Now, why on earth would we do that? Well, if we're doing banjo stuff, that can be, or it's just your open A stuff. If you're into bluegrass banjo, you might have started to learn some of that, or you may be very advanced with it. So there you go. There's all your licks that you know already, right on deal. Why make it hard on yourself? So here's A, and then C sharp 7. So we're going from open, so everything's going to be totally different, but there's your C sharp 7 voicing. We got some rub there, some sour notes, but when we're going fast, it actually is pretty cool. So let's say that's a, right? right? It works. So here's A, C sharp 7, D, sorry, C sharp 7, F sharp minor, E, D, D7, open string there, or put your second finger on the 4th fret high D string, and they both work. This would be a D7 9 or D7 suspended 2. Very good Grateful Dead chord. It's in a bunch of their songs. So yeah, so that's a different way to play that descending F sharp minor, E major, D, D7 sequence that we have there. Now we're ending up down here, right? And we're gonna take this up because we're ultimately trying to get up the fretboard. And now last time we moved from A to F sharp by going, or just, but this time we're going to use a lot less motion, and we're going to go up the neck because that's what we're doing here. So here's A, 4, 1, 2, and then F sharp right here. See how easy that is? And then the cool thing about this is next is the B chord. Check out what the pinky's doing. So we got A, F sharp, B, and then B, we're going to go to B7. So I'm barring with my first finger, and so there's B, and then lift the pinky, bar with the first finger, and then to get to D, all you do is move this to a full bar. It's only that note that moved. B7, D, and then we got to do the, and then we're going to do another D7. I'm going to play it like that, which I did a little earlier, but now it's a little more part of it. This is going to bring us up to our last A and back into the A, C sharp 7, F sharp minor, E, D, D7 sequence. So let's check that out again from the A going to F sharp. Remember, watch the pinky because we're kind of like, we're singing with that top note. That's what we want to get. So there's A. Sorry, forgot about the counting. A, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, F sharp, B. Now we're going to go down. B to D7, D, D7 up to A, and then C sharp, and then that same move we did to get from B to B7, we're going to use for C sharp to C7, and then F sharp minor. So A, C sharp, C sharp 7, F sharp minor, E, D, D7, A, G, D, A, G, D, maybe before the A, G, D, A, G, D, So by choosing different inversions of the chord, you could sing a little song when you play. You always, you want to think. You're not just changing inversions. It's not just about varying for the sake of it or to cover more ground. You want to let your chords and your chord choices sing, tell a little bit of their own story. And if you're thinking about that, and you're also thinking about rhythm, and you're also thinking about what everyone else is playing and listening, you're going to end up with a pretty cool part that is also supportive of everything else that's going on, but remains interesting on its own. And that's the kind of playing that I really aspire to, and that I admire in the musicians who I like to listen to and follow most. So let's go through that group of chords again, and I'm just going to play it this time. So here we go. The right hand will be probably a lot more busy, but you can watch it as many times as you want. Here we go. So try 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you go. That's just another way to do it. I'm hearing the song in my head. You don't hear play along. I don't hear play along. I'm just playing it. So here we go. That's what I got for you. There's some nice examples of ways you can move these chords around the banjo, and remember to take everything that we did there from the 14th fret to the 2nd fret and combine them. Find your own chord voicings, find your own inversions, move them around, change them up, put different ones next to each other. There's no rules you have to follow here. These are just some things that I find useful. I'll play through them again so you can get some examples, maybe get some ideas, and hopefully enjoy. So here we go. Deal on the banjo. Let's play it.